Hi, in this chapter, we learn how EAS Build automatically manages the developer-facing app versions for your application for Android and iOS. Learning about it will be useful before we dive into production builds in the next chapters. So let's get started. Alright, so back to our application. I'm here in my app.config.ts file. And the first thing that we need to understand is that the app version is composed of two values. The first one is going to be the developer-facing value, which is represented by version code for Android and build number for iOS. So if I come here into the iOS section and say build number, you can see that we get autocomplete for build number. And this is a string, which means I can say 1 if this is the first build that I'm creating. And for Android, we can come here to the Android section and say version code. As you notice, version code is a number. So I need to say 1 like that. So these two values are developer facing values or versions. And this version that you can see here, it's a user-facing value, which means the user is going to be able to see the version of the app that they have installed. Since this is a user-facing value, you are in charge of increasing the version of your application based on the changes that you are making, right? So for example, a minor change and major change, you would need to increase this version accordingly. Now, both Apple App Store and Google Play Store rely on these developer-facing build numbers to identify each build. Now let me show you an example of an application that I have here called Shopping List. And as you can see, we have the version, which is the user-facing version. And for each version, you can see that I have many builds, right? And you can see the numbers. So in this case, 13, 14, and then I decided to create a new version to create a new release for my application. So I creating a new build, which comes to be 16. And same thing applies for Play Store. I have here the same application, and inside the internal testing, I can scroll down and see that, for example, the 1.1.2 contains the version code 10. Down here, we can see the history, and you can notice as well that, for example, I was using 1.1.1, which is the user-facing version, and the version number or the version code for this one was 5. Then I decided to increase my version, create a new build, and now I had to increase this to number 6. Let's say that we're developing 1.1.2 and then you create a new version and you forget to increase this version code. The Play Store and as well Apple on the App Store, it's going to reject your build because it's going to tell you, you already have a version code number 6. You need to increase the version code. And since creating a build usually takes around 10 minutes, imagine waiting 10 minutes just to get this error telling you that you forgot to increase the version number. So one way to handle this issue would be increasing this manually in here, but thankfully EAS handles this for us. So we can just go ahead and delete these numbers and hit save. And let's go to the EAS.json. So if you notice in our EAS.json file, we have the app version source equal to remote. And we can see the values. It could be local or remote. By default comes remote, which means we're going to be handling the build number relying on the EAS servers. So we don't need to do that manually. And down here for the production builds, we are setting this flag auto increment equal to true. So this is basically going to increase automatically each time that I create a new production build, the build number. And you can see that this is going to increase the build number for iOS and the version code for Android. This is great because we don't need to care about these values anymore. We only need to care about the version. One more thing that I want to mention is that if you already have, let's say, manually increased the version up to 10, let's say, you can actually override or start the EAS server to be 10 and from there continue increasing. In the doc, we have this section that allows you to sync developer-facing app versions that are already published to EAS. And we can do that just by running EAS build version set. So let's try to do that in our project. I'm going to stop my server and run this command. Now this is going to ask me which platform do I want to set. So in this case, let's say Android to start. And you can see that this is the first time that I'm actually creating a build. So it's 1 at the time. But let's say that you had 10. So let's start it at 10. I'm going to set this to be 10 and hit enter. And then let's run the same, but in this case for iOS. So I'm going to select iOS. And then to be consistent, I'll use 10 as well. But of course, it doesn't really matter if these values are different. If I run again build version set, and let's try to set Android, you notice that it's now 10, the value that we have in here. So let's go ahead and cancel this. I just wanted to show you that it's updating on the EAS server. And the next time that I trigger a build, it should contain the number 11 because it's going to increase from 10 to 11. Before we finish this chapter, I want to mention as well that you can set the auto increment on any profile that you want. So for example, I like to set the auto increment in the preview because sometimes I like to send these preview builds to the App Store for internal testing, and we need to increment the build number as well. So it's useful to have it in here. I would say personally I like it, but if you prefer to have it just for production, just leave it in here and you should be good. And that brings us till the end of this quick chapter. We learned how to automatically manage version codes for Android and iOS using EAS. We also learned how to reset EAS servers to start from a specific build number. And in this case, we set our apps to start with the build number 10. Remember that EAS only handles developer-facing version codes, and you need to handle manually the user-facing version. You can do that by increasing the version manually or following a framework like semantic versioning. I hope you liked this quick chapter. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next one.